Hi guys, Squirrel here. Welcome to another Simrail video. In this one, we're going to take a look at what's just happened in Simrail. It's had a big update, and it's also had its first DLC. Now, that's strange considering it's an early access game, but it has released a DLC called the Cargo Pack, which contains this, which is the ET22 locomotive, also known as the Bull, and it contains some other cargo freight cars, one of which is a hopper and the other one is a liquid container. So in this video I will take you through the ET22. This is the very first one that's been added to Simrail, which has a fully cold and dark startup procedure, which is quite cool. It also has an engine room behind, which we'll take a look at. And yeah, we'll talk about what's in the DLC and whether it's good value. So let's get started. So the Cargo Pack DLC costs around £15, around $20, something like that. I think it's on a bit of a sale. And I'll be honest, it doesn't contain a lot. It contains one locomotive and some cars. And some people are complaining on Steam that that's not good value. And one view of that is the correct. Another view is that they shouldn't be releasing DLC whilst they're still in early access. It all depends on your point of view, but I'm just telling you that's what people are saying on Steam. However, what they do give you is excellent quality. So this is the locomotive that you get. This is the ET22. This locomotive, it's a 6-axle electric locomotive. I think it was produced sort of early 70s. And if I'm not incorrect, I think the traction motors and some of the other parts came from that, the EU07. That's its predecessor. This was a fantastically popular locomotive in Poland. I think they sold nearly 1,200 units, something like that. And if you actually click on the information, it'll actually tell you some more info here. 3,000 kilowatts of power, top speed of 125, but generally doesn't go that because most cars that it's pulling tend to be freight and they tend to be limited to, 100 or less. 120 tons service weight, and this thing can really haul some stuff. Comes in some lovely liveries. If you look at this one, look at that. I love this one. I love the kind of, look at the texturing on the front there. It's beautiful. It comes with various liveries like this that have been in use across Poland, and these things, despite the fact that they've been going for best part of 40 years, still in use. Actually nearly 50 years, still in use, some of these things across Poland, which is pretty cool. In terms of what else you get in the DLC, you get this particular hopper here, which is effectively like a grain or I guess a coal hopper. I love that color. That red is beautiful. I mean, just look at the detail on this thing. So this is the 441V hopper. It's 64 tons carrying capacity, and you can see you're going to see this across the various scenarios that you can drive. You also get on the 406 RA and RB, you get these ZAES and ZAS. So the ZAS is this one. It's not too dissimilar to this particular tanker here, which comes in various liveries, obviously. But again, if you click up the information here, this is equipped with a steam heating system, which is not present on the 406B. So that's the difference between the A line and the B line. This thing, I think, what does it carry? Something like 84,000 litres, something stupid. Lots of carrying capacity, 57 tons of liquid, with a capacity of 61 cubic metres. So you can see glorious detail on the cars, absolutely beautiful, all written in a language which I cannot understand. No idea what this says, but absolutely beautiful. So as well as getting all this in the DLC, Simrail actually came with an update as well. I'm just stuck on this step here. It came with an update as well, which contained quite a lot of quality of life fixes, actually. Some bug fixes, some improvements. So for example, they've actually brought in the ETCS, the European Train Control System level 1 and 2, which works on the Pendolino train. We could have a quick look at that if we can find it. It wouldn't be under here. It would be under... Yes, it would. Where's the Pendolino? There it is. That is the ED250 Pendolino. So that thing now has European Train Control System support. There's actually a scenario which teaches you how to do it. I'm not going to look at this in this video. We'll look at that in a separate video. But some of the updates they've brought in, things like AI movements, shunting operations, and then there's some more quality of life stuff, like on the HUD it will show you train length, it will show you the train weight. You get sparking on the overhead electric lines when it's snowy. You also get slippery track. They've added traction capability. I actually felt that when I drove the ET22. You could feel the wheels slipping. There was like a buzzer was going off because it was snowy outside on the track. So yeah, lots of updates which come for free, and then the DLC, which is obviously paid. Let's jump into the ET22 and we'll take it for a spin. Okay, so here we are in the ET22. We are completely cold and dark. It is raining outside. You can actually open the window, in case you didn't know. There you go. It's a lovely day in Poland. Okay, we need to get this thing ready to roll. Now, it's a bit of a weird procedure, this, but it starts off by switching the main battery on. Now, I will warn you, when we turn on this main battery, the alarm will sound, and I'll have to shut it off. But here we go. So we close the door, jump back in the room, turn on the master key, which is this one here. Put the reverser into a forward position, and then press space. And that will clear it down. So it's master key, reverse it into a forward position, hit the vigilance button, that stops the alarm. It is really annoying when you're trying to listen to tutorials when the alarms are going off. Okay, so next step, we need to try and get some power from this thing. First of all, we need to unlock the traction motors and then unlock the relay. So that's that done. And then we need to go and basically fill up the air tank to lift up the pantograph. So to do that, we're going to this engine room, by the way. Isn't it great? I've actually been in an engine room on I think it was a class 60. I can't remember what I was in, but it was a lot less space than this. Anyway, you want to shut off the main power there and the pantograph supply. So this is the compressor pipes, etc., to go up to the pantograph. We're shutting everything off so that we can then start the compressor, fill up a small tank which will lift the pantograph up to get us some power. That's the whole point of this. You come back into this side because you can't get across there because that would be too easy, right? And then you basically hold this button down, and you hold it down for 1 actual minute. You keep holding it until you hear it change audio, at which point you know you're done. And there you go. After 1 very long minute, the tank is full. So we can now jump back into here, and we can raise the pantograph at the back. So we'll raise the rear one. So we flick this here, and then we flick this, and there's the front one there and the back one here. So if we click that and have a quick look at the back, you should see up it comes. And we should see some voltage jump right about there. There, you see that? Suddenly, the needle suddenly jumped up and gave us some power. Cool. So that's given us some power. Next thing we need to do is basically flick the main switch, close the main breaker. That will send that blue light on. And then we put the converter on, and then the compressor. You get some lovely audio. The power is now flowing through the locomotive. So what you need to do now is wait a little bit for that needle to come up to that red line. That's the main tank is now filling. So while we wait for that to happen, we can look at some lights. We're not doing any shunting today. If it's doing shunting, we put just that light on. We're going to do mainline work, so we'll put all 3 lights on. The rest of it is kind of optional at this point. So you can put your leg heating on. You can have some instrument lighting. There's even a dimmer for that if you want a sort of dimmer version of it. What else have we got? Signal light dimming. We've got cab light dimming. So the cab light is here, overall lighting, and then dim it down. That should put those lights on. Other than that, you can largely ignore the rest of this. The handbrake is here, but we can't take that off yet because we don't have enough air in the tank, and the whole thing could run away on us. What we'll do is when the tank is full, we've got to go and set those pipes back to normal. Then we'll have to pump air into the main line to release the main brakes, put on the loco brake, release the manual brake, the handbrake, sorry, and then we should be good to go. We can tell the controller. Now, the way we tell the controller is by the radio. So we need to turn the radio on, flick that switch there to turn the radio on, and then finally press the radio power switch. And as soon as we're ready, we press ZEW3, which will acknowledge, and you'll hear they seem to have added some American voices to this, which is, I don't know if that's better or worse than the Polish ones I couldn't understand. You'll see what I mean. I think some of it is AI generated and some of it isn't. I've heard a British voice, an American voice, and a Polish voice so far doing this, but we'll see what we come up with. Right, so the tank is almost full. You should hear that the compressor stop shortly anyway. There it goes. Right, and then you can throw that back. You can throw that back. The locomotive is now ready to go. We just need to get back in the seat. And we shall start by moving that to the running position. And then we will hold down this thing here, which is the brake releaser. And you can see bottom right here, the brake pipe pressure is now shown. It's not shown as a percentage anymore, it's actually shown here. While that's releasing, you'll also notice up here, it shows the total weight of the train now, 2,112 tons, and the overall length, 315 meters. So that stuff is new as well. Okay, the compressors come back in because obviously we're starting to use air from the main tank. And we're just going to get that pumped down a little bit more. There we go, that'll do for now. Right, now we'll bring in the local brake onto 100%. We will release parking brake and we will acknowledge that we're ready to go.
Katowice KO train 423042 ready at the entry semaphore T after locomotive repair.
423042 Katowice understood. Providing semaphore.
Received.
Okay, so semaphore's received. We should now get permission to go through here. And the light should change probably to like an orange, I think, just to give us permission. It might even flash, I can't remember. There it goes. Okay, so we now have permission to go through. So we will release the local brake. Put this back into fill. Try and pump the brake line up to about 5 if we can. That'll do for now. Put it back into running. Right, the way this works is giant wheels not for steering, it's a power controller. So we put the power controller into position 1 and you'll get a jump in amps on this side. There we go. So that's 130 amps, which is fine. Above 600 it will trip, but you need to now bring it up in stages on the throttle position. Now I normally aim to get the needle around about 400. So we'll just bring it up gradually. We have got a speed limit of 40 k's. Okay, that'll do. If you go too quickly, you can get these surges and the needle can go over 600. And if that happens, you will have to put it back into 0 and you'll have to clear the traction motor, reset it basically because you screwed up. Now look, we've got AI trains going here. That's a passenger run. Pretty cool. I'll try and see if I can fully release that brake. Now the position of throttle that we're in is not what's considered to be a long distance kind of driving position. The reason is it's technical. It goes through the resistors and it basically causes excessive electrical heat and effectively engine wear, think of it that way. So we need to get to a position that's green, and that's position 21 is what's the first green. So if we move this up to position 21, you see that's gone to green now. That basically bypasses the resistors and it allows you to now use the shunting regulator if you want to get a bit more oomph. The shunting regulator has 6 positions. It will send more power through the traction motors now. But this position in green is where you want to be when you're cruising, basically. Now, above 21, it will then engage the second, what do they call this, an inverter? I can't remember. This one will come in as well, and you will get a sudden spike as both of them kick in. The next position after that is 36, and then finally 48. But this thing, like I say, can go up to 125 Ks, which is pretty quick. It's got a lot of power, this little thing. A lot of power. A lot of fun to drive. I'm pressing spacebar to clear the DSD down. We can actually put the wipers on, and they actually work now. You can even slow them down, look. And previous to this build, oh, this is cool. Previous to this build, these wipers didn't clear the water off the glass, but they fixed that in this build. Now this is pretty wicked. We've got an AI driving down the side of us. Don't forget this thing has full multiplayer support, and it's a lot of fun on the multiplayer servers. But for now, this is offline, and this is just AI provided. Now, top right, 40 Ks, 230 meters. So we're going to have to stick with 40 Ks for now. We can leave it in this position, which will give us power, or we could drop down to position 0 and just freewheel it. But that's the position you want to be in. It's pretty cool. Right. If we have a look outside, so these are the new the tankers, what they call the can't remember the name of the hopper. The hoppers are the 441s. The actual tankers, the ZAS or Z's tankers, however you say it. These new oil tankers here are part of the cargo pack, as is the ET22. And what I do like, look at the whole suspension system riding up and down. I am going to kill the power down to 0 because we are about to go speeding and we may even need a bit of brake. Because what you can't see is the gradient of the track, so I don't actually know if we're going down or not, but we are picking up some speed. If that goes over 40, I will have to engage the brake. But so far, so good. There we go. Let's get a little bit of braking going. So you can see our itinerary down here. So 1428, 1430 through, 1432, Katowice, Zadowski. I don't know how you say that. My Polish is terrible. And then 1638, 42, and so on. Going all the way straight through. The journey ends at, yeah, Sedzistau. I've no idea how to say that. 1828. So this is a very long journey. It's over 2 hours, this particular mission. And to be honest, that's not even the longest one. Like, it's crazy how long these journeys are in this game. Let me get the shunting back to that. You can, of course, just jump into multiplayer, which is a lot of fun, and just drive those. But if you do the actual missions, be warned because some of them are very long in duration. Okay, so position 22, you can see both traction motors came in now, both inverters or whatever they're called. And now we can start to bring up the amps. Like I say, keep it around the 400 amps on each needle and you should be okay. See if we can get up to 36. That's the next green stop. There you go. Now, I can bring in the shunting regulator at this point. There you go, and you can see that the amount of current it now pumps through is quite substantial. That's the slip. You hear that? That is wheel slip. I'm putting so much power and so much torque through the wheels because the track is wet. The wheels are actually slipping, and that's what that was. And you could actually see it because the needles were riding up and down. See if we can get it again. No, it's settled down now. But it's cool. It's all simulated, and that's the cool thing about Simrail is not only does it look really good, but the simulation underneath is really good. And it's all done in Unity, and I'm running in 4K, and this is running so smooth. So very smooth. It looks gorgeous. Just look at those reflections as well. So, that's the ET22. That's what's in the cargo pack. Sadly, I can't make this video 2 hours long, guys, so I'm just going to wind up and give you my thoughts here. This is a DLC which I have bought because I want to support the developers. Let me just say that outright. I did not receive this for free. I did not ask for it for free. I would rather give them some money and have the development team carry on doing what they're doing. Having said that, there'll be some people that will say one locomotive and a few cars is a bit pricey and you're not even out of early access. Well, the guys have got to make some money, and let's be honest, if you look at like an OMSI expansion, when it just adds a bus, you know, for this kind of money, it's a similar thing. That's the world we live in, I'm afraid. Either put the money down and help them out, or don't. It's entirely your choice. The base game is currently on sale on Steam because this pack just came out. The base game's on sale. In future videos, I'm going to cover the new ETCS stuff in the Pendolino, and I'll also going to start doing some multiplayer stuff, so I'll show you how the multiplayer works, in particular dispatching, because dispatching is quite interesting in this game in multiplayer, but I'm going to cover that in future videos. In terms of this video, I think we're done here. I've showed you the ET22. It's a fun thing to drive. The cargo pack is cool. You can get to drive some pretty big trains, and you can even turn off the GUI so you can just look at it in all of its 4K glory. That's it from me, guys. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Take care. Happy training.